essentially speaking, what this is, this conference, the idea behind it is to promote a number of things. First of all, London as one of the foremost global markets, global financial markets, in adopting and implementing and actually expanding on Sharia-compliant financial products, which has proven immense success, even at the most difficult times economically, even at the most challenging economic climates. This particular market has constantly been booming, and Britain has led the way in not only exploring avenues for increasing its penetration of that particular market, but also finding laws and legislations that facilitate for that particular segment of the market to thrive. Particularly that we have 2.5 million Muslims living here in Britain, many of whom are major holders within the business market in Britain, and for all of them, needing to purchase a house, needing to buy shares, needing to save, needing to save for their children's education and such a form of finance and investment is absolutely vital. So that's one aspect of why we're doing this. But secondly, also, is to provide London as a sort of model for Arab and Muslim capital. It's an extremely safe place to come and invest. It's an extremely safe and quite wonderful place to come and tour, to spend your holidays and vacations, to send your children to come and study either higher education or short courses or whatever. It complements the whole ethos of Islamic Expo, and that is not only educating people about Islam, non-Muslims and the British public about Islam, but also it's about educating the Muslim world as to the opportunities that Britain and the British public have to offer, and the kind of opportunities that lie within, particularly as we're talking today on a financial level. I think that there are a number of issues which the global markets suffer from in general, regardless of whether they be pertaining to the Muslim world or pertaining to the wider international global market. Unfortunately, bit by bit, the markets are losing, if you like, their soul, and by far and large, the issue of profit has been the overriding factor for so long, and therefore I think that over the past 10 years, what we witnessed here in Britain, for instance, what we witnessed was an incredible hike in price of property and land and such, that was, in certain circumstances, at certain moments, it just seemed so unreal. I think what an Islamic or an ethical, if you like, kind of elements would have done here is to, take a step back, take a breather and say, there must be something wrong here. There is something happening, and all this is happening whilst homeowners and the such are capitalizing on all this, but there is an element that's losing out. I think that the kind of human element, the kind of ethical element, the morality within the markets, that's something that we haven't seen much of lately, and that has led to the kind of topsy-turvy state of the markets over the past 6, 7, possibly even 10 years. And now we're coming back to, down to earth with a bang, and unfortunately it's hitting people very, very hard indeed. I think that what the title of the conference today is, ethical investment, that goes beyond the mere range of Islamic finance, but to ethical investment is exactly what we want to portray, what we want to promote, what we actually need. We need people's confidence in the markets to return, not only as a profit-making machine, but also as a vital element of creating a humane society. And being in London, being at the heart of one of the most thriving financial markets in the world, possibly even a hub for the bridge that we want to bring the worlds together, to bridge the civilizational gap that's growing day by day. So I think that what Islamic finance would have brought is that kind of domain, but also it would have kept sort of a reality check on the state of affairs when things were just basically skyrocketing and they were spiraling out of control. Trying to address today is the global input in how we can first of all promote this particular sector, the issue of Islamic finance, and ethical investment, generally speaking, and how it's possible for people to actually link up with each other bit by bit. I mean, we're talking about people coming from Malaysia, from Australia, from North America, from Canada, from across Europe, from the Arab world, from North Africa, the Middle East, from all around the world, literally, that have gathered today for this particular conference. And I think that what is becoming a reality, and I think that, from the first session that we've seen and the panels that we've seen, people who come from various places, they seem to be speaking from very similar perspectives, which means that the markets aren't really that far apart. In fact, if anything, the global markets are coming together. We are coming to see things through a sort of singular kind of dimension, which, whilst it may have its problems, but also it helps, and particularly in terms of our networking, in terms of collaborating with each other, in terms of building business relations across, the usual kind of grounds, just merely across Europe, but crossing those shores maybe to North Africa, simply because things aren't really that different over there, and the markets are linking up in a very, very subtle, but very overt way at the same time. The speakers today, I think they talk, the panels that we've seen till now, touching on, either the role of Islamic finance, the potential for Islamic finance within, Western markets, particularly here in Britain, for instance, and throughout Europe, as well as the challenges that face this particular market. I think that that's something very, very, very interesting. We've had people from all, sorts of financial institutions that are interested in this, financial and also trade and commerce and the such. We have obviously one of the main sponsors, the Islamic Bank of Britain. We have with us HSBC. We have with us the Arab Chamber for Trade and Commerce, and we're talking about delegates from institutions and organisations and banks from across the world. So it's quite an impressive gathering, and I'm extremely hopeful that by the end of it, most people here would have found something new to really ponder on. We are talking the same language here. We are talking about investing in areas that provide a reasonable level of welfare, of humanitarian, cooperative, collaborative kind of support to the societies that make up that particular nation and country, and therefore an oppressive regime which enslaves its people, which is not one that one would be encouraged to actually help thrive or gain increasing power, as well as also, yes, finding investments outside the kind of slowly becoming monopolized segments of trade and commerce and manufacturing and the such, concentrating on small businesses, on medium, middle-sized businesses, local businesses where people are, self-dependent, where they can come up with their own raw materials and come up with their own products, initiatives that supports society's endeavors to become self-sufficient and self-sustained and the such. All these issues, I think that now are becoming globalized. I mean, I think that people, wherever you go, whatever their religion, whatever we're talking about generally the same thing. But also the responsibility of profit-making industry towards the, if you like, the network of society upon which they rest, and which actually without, they cannot actually work, they cannot thrive. That's something which is extremely important. It's by no means going back to socialism. In fact, if anything else, it's very much capitalism, but with a soul. And I think that that's where we've gone wrong. I think that there is, if you like, a middle point between the kind of platforms that we are offered, and that is essentially that people can and are encouraged to thrive and endeavour to make as much profit as they can, but with a certain sense of responsibility towards their communities and their societies, and that basically in that sense the gap between rich and poor does not increase, and also there is no, if you like, envy on the part of the poor towards the rich, simply because they realize that the richer they become, there is a greater responsibility upon their shoulders. So there is that kind of collaborative, cooperative kind of society being built. So I think that there is, these are very, very generalistic, very rhetorical kind of notions, but putting them into practice is something which I feel that many of the establishments and institutions today are going to be talking about, the mechanics of how we can put that into action. The main elements of any corporation or company or establishment that's is set up, one of the main infrastructures or elements of that infrastructure is essentially the part that deals with either the obligatory tax, which is so-called taxes called the zakat or the alms, which are calculated according to a particular formula, as well as those who deal with charitable endeavors and projects and the such that this particular establishment chooses to support. It's a vital part of an individual's daily life, as well as the staple life of an establishment, of a financial establishment, very, very much so. And that is exactly why society within an Islamic realm encourages companies and individuals to go out and be successful from the business point of view, simply because the return upon society collectively is that much greater.